All right. Okay. Uh, Hi everyone. I hope it's working. I'm pretty sure it is, the live stream. So, what? Okay, so let's start with today's poems. Yeah, we have 10 and they're all really long, I realized. So, I hope I can get through them well and but I'm not going to be able to really go into the individual characters as much for today because you're like, you know, they're all really, really long. But the first few should be exciting is by Li Bai, you know, the one of the best poets ever, right? So yeah, why don't we just start? So first Li Bai, 梦游天母吟留别. So Tianmu Mountain ascended in a dream. 海客谈瀛洲，烟涛微茫信难求。越人语天母，云你明灭或可睹。天母连天或天横，是把五日掩赤城。天台48000丈，对此日倒东南倾。我日应知梦无月，一夜飞渡镜湖月。湖月照我影，送我至善善溪谢公宿处今尚在，露水荡漾清人啼。脚着谢公击升登青云梯，半壁见海日，空中闻天鸡，千言万壑路不定，迷花移时忽已明。熊包龙吟阴岩泉，厉声灵犀惊层林。云轻轻兮欲雨，水淡淡兮生烟。列缺壁立，秋峦崩摧，洞天石扇。轰然中开，清明浩荡不见底。日月照耀金银台，霞为衣兮风为马。云之君兮纷纷而来下。虎鼓瑟兮鸾回车，先知人兮列如麻。忽魂既已破洞，恍惊起而长嗟。惟觉时之枕席，思向来之烟霞。世间行乐亦如此，古来万事东流水。别君去兮何时还？且放白鹿青崖间，须行即骑访名山。安能摧眉折腰事权贵，使我不得开心颜。Oh, that's wow, that's a lot. Can you tell I just woke up? Really like, well, this is not a good warm up poem. All right, that's okay. Let's take a look at the English. Uh, a seafaring visitor will talk about Japan, which waters and mists conceal beyond approach. Baidre people talk about Heavenly Mother Mountain, still seen through its varying deeps of cloud. In a straight line to heaven, its summit enters heaven, tops the 5 holy peaks, and casts a shadow through China with the 100-mile length of the Heavenly Terrace Range, which just at this point begins turning southeast. My heart and my dreams are in Wu and Yue, and they cross Mirror Lake all night in the moon. And the moon lights my shadow and me to Yen River, with the hermitage of Xie still there, and the monkeys calling clearly over ripples of green water. I wear his pegged boots. up a ladder of blue cloud, sunny ocean halfway, holy cock crow in space, myriad peaks and more valleys and nowhere a road. Flowers lure me, rocks ease me, day suddenly ends. Bears, dragons, tempestuous on mountain and river, startle the forest and make the heights tremble. Clouds darken with darkness of rain, streams pale with pallor of mist. The gods of thunder and lightning shatter the whole range, the stone gate breaks asunder, venting in the pit of heaven an impenetrable shadow. But now the sun and moon illumine a gold and silver terrace, and, clad in rainbow garments, riding on the wind, come the queen of all the clouds, descending one by one. With tigers for their lute players and phoenixes for dancers, row upon row, like fields of hemp, range the fair free figures. I move, my soul goes flying, I wake with a long sigh. My pillow and my matting are the lost clouds I was in, and this is the way it always is with human joy. 10,000 things run forever, like water towards the east. And so I take my leave of you, not knowing for how long. So, but let me, on my green slope, raise a white deer, and write to you, great mountain, when I have need of you. Oh, how can I gravely bow and scrape to men of high rank and men of high office, who never will suffer being shown an honest-hearted face. Whoa, what's going on? My first question I have is like, is this really Japan? Because here it's just like Yingzhou, which is I've never heard of this, but maybe it's another name for Japan. Yeah, it's not Japan, dude. It's like okay, Yingzhou is so these are apparently it says Yingzhou is one of three celestial mountains in the Eastern Sea in ancient tales. So I mean, no way that's Japan, right? I was so surprised. Let me just check. Because like I I have never heard of I've never heard of this as a term for Japan. So yeah. Okay. So it's a celestial mountain, a legendary celestial mountain in the Eastern Sea. Okay. Okay, so okay, then that makes sense, right? When they say a seafaring visitor, we'll talk about Yingzhou, which waters and mists conceal beyond approach. So it's talking about this like legendary mountain, which is kind of mysterious, right? And then Bajra people talk about heavenly mother mountain, still seen through its varying deeps of cloud. In a straight line to heaven, its summit enters heaven, tops the 5 holy peaks. Okay, it's a really long sentence. Tops the 5 holy peaks and casts a shadow through China with the 100-mile length of the heavenly terrace range, which just at this point begins turning southeast. Okay, let's see. Well, this Tianmu Mountain, and it's just really long, really tall, right? Okay, I'm not doing justice to it, but yes, it's really long and really tall. And I think it's supposed to have almost legendary proportions, I suppose. Okay, so this is a real mountain as well in Zhejiang province now. Okay, so it's just a really, yeah. And then he says, my heart and my dreams are in Wu and Yue. So these should be 2 regions. Wait, where is it? Number 10. But he already mentioned Yue earlier. Right? Okay, but 10. I think Yue is the place around where the mountain is. Is in Zhejiang. So that's where the mountain is, right? Not really sure where Wu is. It's probably in the same place, somewhere nearby. So that's why, I mean, if not, it wouldn't make sense, right? Like he's talking about the mountain, and then he talks about these regions. And so, okay, and they cross Mirror Lake all night in the moon. Okay. Oh, his heart. So it's his heart and his dreams that are crossing Mirror Lake all night in the moon. Okay, where's Mirror Lake, dude? Uh, what? 镜湖月. Is this a real place? Ah, okay. 镜湖. Okay, it's also nearby. It's in Zhejiang, Shaoxing. Okay. Okay, so Mirror Lake is also there. And then the moon lights my shadow and me to Yan River. Okay, oh, this is actually called Shanxi. Right, I wasn't really sure which way to read it, but okay. So it's another river around there. If the Hermitage of Xie is still there. Wow. Oh, okay. Xie Lingyun. So this is a famous poet. I feel like we mentioned him before, but yeah. Apparently, this dude, Xie Lingyun, likes to visit mountains. And then when he was at Tianmushan, he once stayed at this place called Shanxi, Shan River. Okay. So, all right. So and then the monkeys calling clearly over ripples of green water. Okay, sure. And I wear his pegged boots. Is this... So this is the kind of boots that Xie Lingyun wore. Apparently it's good for mountain climbing. It's like yeah, like it has detachable like teeth apparently. Oh, that's wild. It's like a specially made wooden boot, and it has like, so when you climb up you remove like the front teeth. I'm not sure why that helps. And then when you come down you remove the back teeth. But I guess it's for better traction now. It looks like a slipper, but I guess it's like those Japanese ones where it's like there's a wooden below and then there's like a strap on top. Okay, cool. Okay, I wear his pegged boots up a ladder of blue cloud. Okay, okay, that's funny. Right, you expect this boots to be like up a mountain, but it's like up a cloud, right? And then sunny ocean halfway, holy cock crow in space, myriad peaks and more valleys, and nowhere a road. Wait, what? Okay. 假说是行云梯半壁见海日，空中闻天鸡 the heavenly chicken. I guess the 青云梯, the ladders of green cloud, is the mountain, but is it, are there clouds covering the mountain? Right? It's not like actually a cloud, right? I mean, it's because he's imagining it, so I guess it could be actual cloud stairs, but I think it's probably just a mountain. All right, so, and here's birds and myriad peaks. Okay, flowers lure me, rocks ease me, day suddenly ends. Bears dragons, tempestuous on mountain rivers, startle the forest and make the heights tremble. Okay. Okay, so there's just all these things at the mountain, I guess. Okay, the gods of thunder and lightning. I really? Did they say that? Gods of thunder and lightning shatter the whole range. I'm not sure. Huh. Okay, let's look a look. Okay, here, there's one note which is the cloud of what? staircase of green cloud. It just means like the mountain road leading up to, the into the clouds are, because I mean the mountain is taller than the clouds are. Okay. 列车 is 闪电, is lightning. And then I think 霹雳 is just thunder. I think it's just lightning and thunder. But okay, PD that's not what I'm looking for, but all right, it's just a thunder, right? Thunderbolt. So it's just saying there's lightning and thunder. I kind of suspect that they have a whole. I mean, maybe there's a god of thunder and lightning, but I was very doubtful that he actually called that like invoked it by name. So yeah, this should just be thunder and lightning. So thunder and lightning shatter the whole range. Okay. The stone gate breaks asunder, venting in the pit of heaven. An impenetrable shadow. But now the sun and moon illumine a gold and silver terrace, and, clad in rainbow garments, riding on the wind, come the queens of all the clouds, descending one by one, with tigers for the lute players and phoenixes for dragons. Whoa. Okay, let's see. Jun, I'm not sure if it's. Ooh. Is it really? It seems like it's ambiguous about the gender though. Why is it specifically queens? Right, Jun just means like immortals so not exactly the queen of heaven, because that's a very specific character, right? So it's just immortals are descending one by one, okay? With tigers, if they're lute players, and the luan, they're a mythical bird. We can call it a phoenix, I guess. As the Rachel, yeah, that's what it should be. As the tigers are the lute players, and the luan is the charioteer. That should be more accurate translation here. So it's not that it's dancing. So I guess it would make more sense with the lute players. All right. So row upon row, like fields of hemp, range the fairy figures. I move. Okay, let's go through this first. Okay, it really does compare it to ma, which is hemp. Okay, which is like weed, right? So interesting comparison. Okay, so all the way to all right. First, just a quick recap. First, it's like I think he's just dreaming about this mountain, and like even though it's very poetic, like until I think the lightning and thunder, I think this is still kind of like semi-realistic. And then like the crazy part is when the immortals start like coming down. So that's pretty wild, yeah. And then that's why the next part it says, I move, my soul goes flying. I wake with a long sigh. My pillow and my matting are the lost clouds I was in. So this part really tells you that it was all a dream lah. Yeah. But maybe dreams have some reality to it. So I think there's a sort of ambiguity there. So maybe his soul was there, right? That's the idea. And then, so the final part, and this is the way it always is with human joy. 10,000 things run forever like water toward the east. So this classic image, like water towards the east, is because I think the Yellow River, which is like one of the main rivers of China, flows towards the east. Yeah. So, all right. So the next, and so I take my leave of you, not knowing for how long. Uh, but let me, on my green slope, raise a white deer, and write to you, great mountain, when I have need of you. What's with the deer? What? Okay. Okay, so in legends, all these immortals or hermits mostly ride white deer. Really? You can train a deer to be ridden? I want to ride a deer. That's really cool, huh? Okay, so all right, so he's just making a reference here. Classic image of immortals. Okay. And then, oh, how can I gravely bow and scrape to men of high rank and men of high office who never will suffer being shown an honest-hearted face? So that's the last part is kind of weird. Let me see. Buddha. I don't think the last line is quite right. Let's see. So yeah, he wouldn't bow to people of authority, right? And then it should be to cause him not to have an open-hearted face. It's cause himself, the poet. So well, I guess that you could read the English that way, right? Yeah, right, because they won't be shown an honest-hearted face because the Li won't be showing the face. Okay. Mm, I wonder what's the point of this, like, last part. I think maybe it's like he's sort of living in another realm, which is why he doesn't bow to worldly authority. Okay. But what's with all this other stuff? And also, I can't believe this took 20 minutes. This is gonna take these 10 poems are gonna take a long time. Okay, you say it's too enigmatic for me. I did not get it. Yeah, me neither. But I think he's just like, oh, I had this cool dream. And then but he sort of wishes he could live in this dream slash like immortal world instead of, or he feels he belongs there more than to the world of all these worldly concerns of rank and authority. I think I'm gonna read the interpretation because I have no idea how to understand this. Okay, so this one says that okay, he's facing some difficulty in his political career, very frustrated, which is why he needs like some sort of escapism in this fantastical world. Okay, that's interesting. Right, that makes sense. That's why he has the last two lines at the end. Hmm. Oh, this is a good observation. All right, I'm just moving to famous critics just to help me make sense of this. There's quite a lot of points, but this person says, so the mythical place, the Yingzhou, right? Sorry, the Yingzhou, which is the mythical place in the Eastern Sea. So, it says it is difficult to seek, but you don't have to seek it. I guess you just it's unseekable. I don't know, but the Tianmu Mountain, which is the topic of the poem, can be seen, but in fact is not really seen, and is only seen in the dream. So I think there is a interesting parallel between these two. So that's interesting. Uh, huh. So they all tend to say it's like this state of like, yeah, I mean, it's just a very fantastical dream, but it's also a kind of, I mean, it's kind of heavenly, right? The immortals literally come down. Yeah. I guess the maybe the point is the kind of contrast between the immortals and like the uh reality, which is kind of which really pales in comparison, right? Hmm. Okay, I don't really see that much uh stuff that I can talk about. I I mean, as usual, they just say it's really good law, right? I mean, they're saying other things, but I'm not seeing anything much that I can talk about. I don't know, man. It's like when your friend tells you about the dream, like, what are you supposed to say? You're like, okay. You're like, oh, I had this dream yesterday. You're like, oh, cool. I guess if you do like a Freudian reading, it's like, oh yeah, he's into like dream analysis. It's pretty obvious, right? It's like, well, he's not doing well in his real life. That's why he sort of wishes he were somewhere else. And he thinks that you know, belongs to he deserves better things, which is why he has there all these he's like pals with all these immortals. That's why and yeah, um he wakes with a long sigh because it's much better than reality, than the reality he's living through at the time. So yeah, okay. Hmm, maybe one more comment. I think it's interesting he says that, and this is the way it always is with human joy. Then 10,000 things run forever, like water towards the east. So I think he's saying that human joy is very transient, it's not permanent. It's always like momentary, right? And I don't know if he's right, but it tells you something about how he's feeling at that time. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Is this a good poem? I mean, it's very well written in Mandarin, in Chinese, but like, I have no idea what's the if there's a good point to it. Yeah. Well, let's see. Okay, this is much shorter. Probably the shortest one we'll see today. So maybe this will give us more to talk about. This is 金陵酒肆留别, parting at a wine shop in Nanjing. 风吹柳花满店香，无稽压酒换客长。金陵子弟来相送，日行不行各尽。伤请君试问东流水，别意与之谁短长？ A wind bringing willow cotton sweetens the shop, and a girl from Wu, pouring wine, urges me to share it with my comrades of the city who are here to see me off. And as each of them drains his cup, I say to him in parting, "Oh, go and ask this river running to the east if it can travel farther than a friend's love." So, okay, so this is a very classic poem, almost like it's super understandable, right? Compared to the previous one. It's like, so this is the genre of like send off poems, but here he's the one being sent off. And he's just saying, oh, yeah, I mean, it's literally what it says here, right? Yeah, not much to analyze. But I would point out there's the same image here of the east flowing, the water flowing east that I just mentioned. So it should be the Yellow River, which is like one of the longest rivers, right? Which is why he's trying to make a statement saying that, a friend's love travels farther than that. Well, it's more of a question. It's more like, do you think the Yellow River travels further than a friend's love? It's not. Well, it's basically the same, the statement or a question. That, hmm. I some wonder what the girl from Wu is doing. Is she just serving the wine? Let's see. Oh yeah, so this is literally just a waitress. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's good, but I'm not sure what there is to analyze. I really like the last line where it says, where it compares the friend's love to, last two lines compares the friend's love to the river running east. Yeah. I feel like we might have to just move through this one quickly because we have a lot more to work through. But I really like this poem. I actually like this more than the previous one, just because the first one was weird. Okay, look at some famous critics. Um, yeah, this person likes the last two lines as well. Yeah, I like this, the way they summarize this. It doesn't need to be very long and it doesn't need to be deep. He wrote he expressed the emotion very well. And I was like, yeah, exactly right. And another line that says, the words do not need to be deep. Uh, if you express the emotion, that is enough. Yeah, I completely agree. Like this, yeah, I like this a lot. So I wouldn't analyze. I guess it's not an analyzable poem. It's not a poem for analyzing. It's like a poem for savoring. So yes, I like this poem a lot. But let's move on to the next one. Okay, that's not too long. So 宣州谢条楼饯别校书书云. A farewell to Secretary Shu Yun at the Xie Tiao Villa in Xuanzhou. All right. Oh, that's pretty interesting. 弃我志者，昨日之日不可留；乱我心者，今日之日多须忧。长风万里送秋雁，对此可以酣高楼。蓬莱文章建安骨，中间小谢又清发。志怀逸心壮思飞，日上青天揽明月。抽刀断水，水更流；举杯消愁，愁更愁。人生在世不称意，明朝散发弄扁舟扁舟。Since yesterday had to throw me a bolt, today has hurt my heart even more. The autumn wild geese have a long wind for escort as I face them from this villa, drinking my wine. The bones of great writers are your brushes in the school of heaven, and I am a lesser xie growing by your side. We both are exalted to distant thought, aspiring to the sky and the bright moon. But since water still flows, though we cut it with our swords, and sorrows return, though we drown them with wine. Oh, this is good. Since the world can in no way answer our craving, I will loosen my hair tomorrow and take to a fishing boat. Whoa. Interesting. Wow, this is really good. So if I translate the first four lines more literally, right, it's like, that which has abandoned me and left, it is the day of yesterday that which cannot be kept. That which has disturbed my heart, it is the day of today, which is full of troubles. I was like, wow. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, then and then he's talking about the passage of time, right? Clearly. And then he says, the autumn wild geese have a long wind for escort as I face them from this villa, drinking my wine. Okay. And the bones of great writers are your brushes in the school of heaven, and I am a lesser xie growing up by your side. I'm not sure what the school of heaven is here actually. 建安谷. So Peng Lai is actually a okay, so this is one of the 3 celestial mountains as well. So just now we have Yingzhou, right? Yingzhou, and this is Peng Lai. It's one of the 3 mountains in the sea, mythical mountains in the sea. But here it's actually referring to, I think like a library in the Han Dynasty. So the eastern view of the library, because the mountain is in the east. It's yeah. Okay. So what does it actually say? What the heck is Angu? So Peng Lai Wenzhang is the essays of this person called Li Yun. Okay. And then Jian Angu is just his writing style. Apparently, is very vigorous. Because it's a certain period. Jianan is the name of this time period, 196 to 220. So Jianan Fenggu is just the style of the writing during this Jianan period. So they're saying the essays in these essays have very good style. And then next, and this Xiao Xie, so this is not the Xie Ling Yun. So the lesser Xie is this other guy called Xie, I think Yao. Whereas the one mentioned just now was the bigger Xie. So they just have the same surname. So people just call them that. What's the deal? Why does he suddenly talk about writing? But essentially, he just starts talking about literature. Okay. Right. So then we both are exalted to distant thought, aspiring to the sky and bright moon. But since water still flows, okay, maybe the distant thought is like just great writing, great poetry. Okay. But since water still flows, though we cut it with our swords, and sorrows we turn, though we drown them with wine. Wow, that's really good. Hmm. I think in the Chinese it's even more intense. It's like when you when you unsheath your sword and you cut the water flows even more. I think it's gong, right? So it's even more. And then so when you raise your cup to hide your sorrow, to drown your to get rid of your sorrows are even more sorrowful. It's like, whoa, damn. Wow, that's really great. That's really great. Wow. So since the world can in no way answer our cravings, I will loosen my hair tomorrow and take to a fishing boat. I think he's probably not doing well in his career, and he's like, I just want to write, and maybe I'll just go leave and be a hermit. That's what I'm getting. Right, so loosen his hair means to become a hermit, right? And to take the little boat with him. Okay, so he's just saying farewell to his friend, right? His really good friend at Shenzhou. Hmm. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why. So he's praising his friend. He says, "Your writing is so good," and then like I am. like the lesser xie. So presumably the guy is the bigger xie, the greater xie. And so, oh, so this is just another parting poem. Wow. But it's a completely different vibe. It's whereas the previous one was just like very straightforward, right? This is like, wow, this is so profound. Man, Li Bai is so good. What the heck? It's like he can do anything. It's like can be like very simple or very deep. Like wow. Okay, wow. I'm not sure if I'm doing very good analysis. I'm just like gasping. But yeah, wow, this is great. What a freaking genius. Okay, let's see. Yeah, he says he's quite bitter about his situation. It says it changes the rhythm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely here, right? It's such a great opening. Like, wow. It's like, 弃我赤者，昨日之日不可留。乱我心者，今日之日多烦忧。It's like, wow, this is so good. Wow. Okay, I think I'm just gonna move on. Sorry. Uh, I'm just like, wow, there's a lot to talk about, but there's so many more poems for today. But it's really good. I mean, the a lot of the analysis here is just about the meter and stuff. I think, hmm, I don't know. I don't really understand what they're discussing when they're saying like there are 3 meters and 2 turns. So I guess it's the rhyme patterns. But I don't have a good sense of that. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. But sorry, I think I'll just move on for today lah. For now. Okay. So this is by Chen Can. 走马川行奉送风，大夫出师西征。A song of Running Horse River in farewell to General Feng of the Western Expedition. 君不见走马川行云海边，平沙茫茫黄入天。轮台九月枫叶后，一川碎石大如斗。随风满地石乱走，匈奴草黄马正肥。金山西见烟尘飞，汉家大将西出师。将军金甲夜不脱，半夜军行乏。歌香波，风头如刀，面如歌。马毛带雨，雪汗气蒸。五花连前悬作冰，木中草席燕水凝。鲁齐而祭，不发。赌其闻之，应胆射。料知短兵不敢接，车师西门宁献剑。That's kind of weird. Oh, is this an even number of lines? Right, it ended with an odd number of lines. That was weird. Okay. So they arranged it in threes. Okay, that makes sense. So whole. So I should have read it like So 猴走. So the rhyme is like 猴斗走, 肥飞诗. Then 托伯歌, 征兵宁, 射接箭. 射击, 接, 解. I see, I see. I was reading it in couplets, in like twos, but it should be read in threes. Okay. So, look how swift to the snowy sea races running horse river, and sand, up from the desert, flies yellow into heaven. This 9th-month night is blowing cold at Wheel Tower, and valleys, like peck measures, fill with the broken boulders that downward headlong follow the wind. In spite of gray grasses, Tartar horses are plump. West of the Hill of Gold, smoke and dust gather. O general of the Chinese troops, start your campaign. Keep your iron armor on all night long. Send your soldiers forward with a clattering of weapons, while the sharp wind's point cuts the face like a knife, and snowy sweat steams on the horse's back. Freezing a pattern of 5-flower coins, your challenge from camp from an inkstand of ice has choked the barbarian chieftain's heart. You will have no more need of an actual battle. We await the news of victory here at the Western Pass. So this is talking about, is another farewell poem, but it's to this General Feng, who is going to a Western expedition. Okay. So they're at Running Horse River. Okay, so look how swift to the snowy sea races Running Horse River, and sand up from the desert flies yellow into heaven. Okay. A 9th-month night is blowing cold at Wheel Tower. What's Wheel Tower? Okay. Okay, it's just at the where they're at the border lah. Yeah. Something. And valleys like peck measures fill with the broken boulders that downward headlong follow the wind. Okay. In spite of gray grasses, Tartar horses are plump. So these are the enemy horses, right? West of the Hill of Gold, smoke and dust gather. Okay, the Hill of Gold is just another mountain at the border. And general of the Chinese troops, start your campaign, keep your iron armor on all night long, send your soldiers forward with a clattering of weapons, while the sharp wind's point cuts the face like a knife, and snowy sweat steams on the horse's back. Wow. Wow, that's really good. Freezing a pattern of 5-flower coins. Your challenge from camp from an inkstand of ice has choked the barbarian chieftain's heart. Interesting. Okay. So it's like he's sort of describing, right? Like the wind is very sharp and it's super cold, like there's ice, but then it's it's cold, but somehow this guy's reputation is even more chilling, maybe. I feel like there's some sort of thing going on there, which is when they have this inkstand of ice. All right, then finally, you will have no more need of an actual battle. We await the news of victory here at the Western Pass. I don't know. It seems kind of unduly optimistic. Like, I'm sure he would have to fight, right? He's like, okay, but but he's just saying, yeah, you're so awesome. I'm sure your reputation alone will create peace. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a exaggerated, dude. Like this guy is expecting to go to fight. Like, dude, you don't say these things. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a super weird thing to say. Like, you say like, oh yeah, I'm sure you don't have to fight. Like, no, I think he needs to prepare himself to fight, right? Like, don't mess with his head. Yeah, but okay. Okay, this they like the what's the phone? Oh yeah, that's the lines I like as well, I think. Eh? Or is it somewhere else? Um, 石走. Oh no, they like another few lines. Okay, they like this one. 轮台9月枫叶好，一川碎石大如斗，随风满地石乱走. What's this? This one, this 9th-month night is blowing cold at Wheel Tower, and valleys like peck measures fill with the broken boulders. The downward headlong follow the wind. I don't really like it. I like these 3 lines. The why don't I just read? All right, 风头如刀，面如歌，马毛带水，汗气蒸，五花连前悬作冰. I like the here, with while the sharp wind's point cuts the face like a knife, and snowy sweat steams on the horse's back, freezing a pattern of 5-flower coins. I think it's really nice, those 3. So, okay, and this also points out this is in triplets instead of couplets. So it's 3 lines as a unit rather than 2 lines. So interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting meter for sure. Or interesting meter. I don't think we've really seen this before. And are these 3 actually okay, so he actually points out these 3 lines because they were all what do you say? Wait, is that right? I think he said they were a triplet, which is why they are these are they make sense to be considered together. Whereas the 3 that I liked, I guess those 3 are not actually in the triplet because I like these 3 lines. So you see, they don't rhyme. Interesting. But he also didn't mention the starting from this part. So interesting. Okay. I know, I just really didn't like the part where he's like, yeah, I'm sure you don't need to fight. I'm sure your very presence will quell the foreigners, I guess, the invaders, like the enemies. It's like, what kind of nonsense is that? I don't know. I just feel like offended at the sentiment, I guess. Okay, it's a pretty decent poem. Yeah. Okay. I'm just ranting at this point. I'm just like, oh, it personally offends me, therefore it is a bad poem. Well, I mean, that's what all these guys are doing anyway, right? They're just giving their own personal reaction, these famous critics. So I guess I'll have a take by a non-famous critic. 8? How come I have 2 of these? 7 and 8. Oh, so he has another poem to the same guy. So a song of Wheel Tower in farewell to General Feng of the Western Expedition. Okay, let me just close some of the earlier poems on my tabs. So why don't we read this? 轮台歌奉送封大夫出师西征。Right，轮台城头吹，轮台城头夜吹角，轮台城北毛头落。日书昨夜过渠离，单于已在金山西。戍楼西望烟尘黑，汉兵屯在轮台北。上将拥毛西出征， 平民吹笛大军行，四边鼓云海涌，三军大呼阴山动，鲁塞而寨而鲁塞兵器连云屯，战场白骨绕草根，剑河风急雪片阔，沙口石洞马蹄拖，雅乡秦王甘苦心，誓将报主尽边城。古来青史谁不见？今见功名胜古人。On wheel tower parapets, night bugles are blowing, though the flag at the northern end hangs limp. Scouts in the darkness are passing Chuli, where, west of the Hill of Gold, the Tartar chieftain has halted. We can see from the lookout the dust and black smoke where Chinese troops are camping north of Wheel Tower. Our flags now beckon the general farther west. With bugles in the dawn, he rouses his grand army. Drums like a tempest pound on four sides, and the Yin Mountains shake with the shouts of 10,000. Clouds and the war winds rolled up in a point over fields where grassroots will tighten around white bones. In the Dagger River mist, through a biting wind, horseshoes at the sand-mouth line break on icy boulders. Our general endures every pain, every hardship, commanded to settle the dust along the borders. We have read in the green books tales of old days, but here we behold a living man, mightier than the dead. Okay, this seems pretty straightforward. I don't know, I feel like the longer the poem, the less I have to say. It's like the more they say, the less interesting it is, you know? Huh. Yeah, the less interesting it is to talk about. But well, let's see. But yeah. So Wheel Tower, we already said it was someplace at the border, right? So, and then this next is scouts passing Chuli. Chuli. I don't see anything there. Chuli, sorry. Ah, okay. It's just a place. It's a country at the border. Yeah, it's a state at the border. So actually, they say 语数 is not a flag, I think. Oh, 语数 is not scouts. It's an emergency document. So when you add the feathers, 语数 is feather letter. So when you add the feathers, it means it's an emergency. Okay. Interesting. So essentially, this is like, oh, code red. Things are going on. Right. And then west of the Hill of Gold. I don't think I need to look this up. It's just another place in the border. The Tartar chieftain has halted. Okay. And our flags now back in the general. I'm kind of doubtful of that translation now, where it talks about flags. Where is it? The Chinese troop. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What's the seventh line? Oh, here's a banner. Okay, that's fair. Okay, let's go on. It's I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what there is to say for this. It's pretty obvious, right? But Okay, let's just go through this and then we can move on. Just really not feeling just really not feeling this Chen Tan guy. Like, I don't like your poems, bro. But okay. Um he's just okay. Where was I? Okay, with bugles in the dawn, he rouses his grand army. Drums like a tempest pound on four sides, and the Yin Mountain shakes with the shouts of 10,000. I think the only interesting thing I would ask is, was this green books? But here I think it explains it just means like this just means like in the historical documents, because in the past it's written in bamboo scrolls, and so it's green color, which is why they call it the green histories. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is like, I just find this very tedious. Like it's so tedious. I can't even make myself read it a second time. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, you're a great general. Okay. Uh, okay. Maybe I'm not giving this enough credit because he's sort of emphasizing the pain and hardship that the general faces, right? So let's see. Um, so over fields where grassroots will tighten around white bones. I think that is interesting to me, where I mean, but also I don't think he does it in a very interesting way. Like he's just like, yeah, it's hard, you might die, and then but you're so brave and you're so awesome. Like, can't can't you deal with this in a more interesting way? Can't you be like, I don't know, he'll hint at the humanity of the guy instead of just this is such a one-sided take. Like, yes, of course someone is brave, but I think it would be much more interesting if you also showed how he is afraid. He is brave despite being afraid. I think this sort of I this is just very, very, I don't know. I just don't feel like this guy has much insight into the emotional state of a soldier, or let's just say, like, yeah, sure, maybe it's well written, but I don't I just really dislike this poem. Yeah. Hmm. You know what? Let's move on. Even the famous critics, I'm like, oh, there's nothing much to say. They're just like, well, it's well written. And yeah, I mean, I guess it is the word choice and all, but I think it's sort of missing. It doesn't have much substance, in my opinion. Yeah. How many more of Sun Tan's poem? Okay, there's just one more, and then we get to Du Fu, who is like a certified goat, like greatest of all time. So there's one more Chen Tan to suffer through. I mean, I don't want to prejudge him. I hope it's good, but it seems like, okay, it seems like it's the same vibe, man. See, it's like the wheel tower. He loves this wheel tower gate, honestly. Okay, let's do this quickly. Sorry I'm being so negative, but like, I really hope there's something interesting he's saying here, but not super optimistic. Okay. So 白雪歌颂武判官归京, a song of white snow in farewell to field clerk Wu going home. 北风卷地百草折，胡天八月积雪飞，积飞雪。突如一夜春风来，千树万树梨花开。散入珠帘湿罗幕，无求不 暖景轻薄薄，将军角弓不得控，都护铁衣冷犹着。瀚海阑干百丈冰，愁云三愁云参淡万里凝。中军置酒饮归客，忽听琵琶语羌笛。纷纷怒雪下辕门，风至红旗冻不翻。轮台东门送君去，去时雪满天山路。山回路转不见君，雪上空留马行处。The north wind rolls the white grasses and breaks them, and the 8th month snow across the Tartar sky is like a spring gale come up in the night. Blowing open the petals of 10,000 pear trees, it enters the pearl blinds, it wets the silk curtains. A fur coat feels cold, a cotton mat flimsy, bows become rigid, can hardly be drawn, and the metal of armor congeals on the men. The sand sea deepens with fathomless ice, and darkness masses its endless clouds. But we drink to our guest, bound home from camp, and play him barbarian lutes, guitars, harps. I mean, it's not a guitar, but harps, till at dusk, when the drifts are crushing our tents, and our frozen red flags cannot flutter in the wind. We watch him through Wheel Tower Gate going eastward, into the snow mounds of Heaven Peak Road, and then he disappears at the turn of the path, leaving behind him only hoof prints. Okay, this seems pretty interesting. Okay, I like the description of the cold. So the wind, the snow is interesting when you compare the snow to a spring gale. It's pretty different, yeah. Spring is like kind of warming up, right? Clearly the 8th month is not spring. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. And then blows open the pearls of 10,000 pear trees. Okay, so the snow wets the silk curtains. It makes the fur coat, affects the fur coat, the mat, the bows, the armor, the sand sea, and all these things. So I think he's trying to say, just like the cold is setting in, it's like the same feeling of like when your friend is leaving or the guest is leaving, then you also feel a sense of coldness because you miss him. Okay, then it says when drifts are crushing our tents and the frozen red flags flutter in the wind, we watch him through Wheel Tower Gate going eastward into the snow mounds of Heaven Peak Road, and then he disappears at the turn of the path, leaving behind him only hoof prints. I do like this image of him leaving behind the prints in the snow. I think that's pretty poetic. It's pretty beautiful. Okay. I think it's interesting to sort of yeah, because he does center this whole parting song around the theme of snow, white snow, which I think is pretty interesting. Really pretty interesting take. Yeah. Okay. It's pretty good. Yeah, not much to analyze. I think it's pretty straightforward, which is not a bad thing. I think it's quite a good poem. Yeah. Oh, it says the word snow appears 4 times. Character snow appears 4 times. That's interesting. Yeah. Really does sort of emphasizing just the snow. I wonder why. I mean, I guess I can totally see as said, I can see the idea of snow and the person leaving. You feel the sense of coldness. Am I just biased against this guy? I feel like it's a very basic metaphor though. But I think it's cool that he frames the whole poem around it. Like by stretching it out for so long, it becomes interesting again. Yeah. Okay. All right, I don't think there's much to say here for famous critics. So let's move on to 杜甫. These will be the last four poems. Sorry if we're going. I hope it doesn't feel like I sort of just skipped through the last few, but I don't know. It was just like physically painful to read that guy. Like super. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. Let's see. I hope this is better. So 韦凤路是宅官曹将军画马图. A drawing of a horse? What? By General Cao at Secretary Wei Feng's house. What? That's so weird. Okay. 国初以来画鞍马，神庙独树江都王。将军得名30载，人间又见真诚黄。曾冒先帝照夜白，龙池10日飞霹雳。内府殷红玛瑙盘，见于传召才人所。盘赐将军拜五归，清丸细意相追飞。贵气犬门得比鸡，始觉屏障生光辉。昔日太宗全毛瓜，晋时郭家狮子花。今之星途有二马，复令使者久探皆。此皆奇战亦敌万，缟素默开风沙，其余七匹亦殊绝。回若寒空杂烟雪，双蹄促踏长秋间。马官饲养僧成列，可怜酒马争神灵。争神俊，故事清高气身稳。借古苦心，爱着谁？后有尾凤前之盾，一夕寻新风关。翠花phủ天来向东。藤香磊落3万匹，皆于此图金古铜。自从献宝朝河宗，无复射角去江水中。君不见，金离堆前松柏里，龙眉去尽鸟乌风。Throughout this dynasty, no one had painted horses like the master spirit, Prince Jiangdu. And then to General Cao, through 30 years of fame, the world's gaze turned for royal steeds. He painted the late emperor's luminous white horse. For 10 days, the thunder flew over Dragon Lake, and a pink agate plate was sent him from the palace, the talk of the court ladies, the marvel of all eyes. The general danced, receiving it in his honored home. After this rare gift, followed rapidly fine silks from many of the nobles, requesting that his art lend a new luster to their screens. First came the curly-maned horse of Emperor Taizong, then for the Guos, a lion-spotted horse. But now in this painting, I see 2 horses, a sobering sight for whosoever knew them. They are war horses. Either could face 10,000. They make the white silk stretch away into the vast desert, and the 7 others with them are almost as noble. Mist and snow are moving across a cold sky, and hooves are cleaving snowdrifts under great trees. With here a group of officers and there a group of servants, see how these 9 horses all vie with one another. The high clear glance, the deep firm breath. Who understands distinction? Who really cares for art? You, Wei Feng, have followed Cao. Zhi Dun preceded him. I remember when the late emperor came toward his summer palace, the procession in green feathered robes swept from the eastern sky, 30,000 horses, prancing, galloping, fashioned every one of them, like the horses in this picture. But now the imperial ghost receives secret jade from the river god, for the emperor hunts crocodiles no longer by the streams. When you see his great gold tomb, you may hear among the pines a bird grieving in the wind that the emperor's horses are gone. I think he's talking about war here, right? When he says, okay, I think we need to look through this closely, but right, he's sad to see this painting because he sees that now these are war horses. Oh, he's not sad about the horses, right? He's sad because the peace is gone. I feel like that's what's going on. But let's look through it slowly, or line by line. So in the past, this Prince Jiangdu is a great painter, and then General Cao, right? So yeah, it's really good. And then he painted all these things. But now I'm just looking at the war horses. OK，此阶战敌一敌，此阶齐战一敌百，缟素磨磨开风沙。11. Okay. I think this is really talking about war. What's the context for this again? It's drawing of a horse by General Cao. So this is an earlier painting, right? Was it? Wait, I don't understand. What's the context for this? Oh, no way. I think she's really just saying this painting of a horse is really nice. What? Really? I feel it'd be way okay. Personally, it would have been way more interesting if he was talking about losing peace by talking about these horses. But I think he's really just saying, dude, these horses look really cool. Huh? Okay, so okay, so it's not that he's seeing these horses and it reminds him of war, and that's why it sobers him up. He's just saying, oh wow, these horses, they sure are scary for their enemies. Am I being too critical? I'm sure it's well written, but I'm like, it's kind of silly, yeah. It's just talking about a cool painting. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't take it so seriously, but it's just like, oh wow. Okay. Maybe why don't I just look at the last, there's quite a lot of references in this last part. So let me just try to understand it. So the Zhidun here is a famous monk, and it's Xin Feng Gong. Okay, the Summer Palace. Okay. But this imperial ghost receives secret jade from the river god. What the heck is the imperial ghost? After Summer Palace, 25 rules. Right. 自从献宝朝和宗 Yeah. What? I'm so confused. I don't think he's crocodiles, eh? When he's talking about 角. When he's talking about the 角, I don't think so apparently the emperor did, right? It's not a crocodile, it's this thing. Some kind of serpent. I think it's mythical, but it's kind of like a dragon. Yeah, like a water serpent, something like that. But I think, okay, the emperor is not, because crocodile is really specific. Like, if it really was crocodile, I think it'd be a reference to something else. But yeah, I think this Jiao. So he's just saying the emperor doesn't hunt the crocodiles because he's dead. And then I don't see what's with this imperial ghost thing. Like, what? 献宝朝和宗. Okay. It's not like it's a kind of river spirit. Okay. Wait, what? Okay, but anyway, it's some sort of allusion to the emperor uh running west, like escaping to the west during the Anlushan rebellion. And then it's Herbo. I guess it's a real person, is it? Or oh, but it's a river god. Okay. There was an imperial ghost. What the heck? What? Bro, there's no ghost in this sentence. What? I don't know. Why am I'm just super annoyed at this. Like what the heck is going on? Like what? The okay, you know what? I'll just translate it myself. Screw this ghost thing. Like, okay. So itself from okay, let's what's the preceding line first? Okay, fashion every one of them like the horses in this picture. Okay, so it's the emperor, he comes with the procession, right? And then they all kind of look like the horses in the picture. And then 自从献宝朝和宗, and so it is from giving the treasure to the river god. And then, but now, ever since or from when he gave the treasure to the river god, but now the emperor no longer hunts this water serpent in the rivers. So I think he's reflecting on actually just the emperor's life. And that's why he says 君不见. I think the emperor is what? Is that I don't see him, or the emperor is not seen. Oh, did they change the? Oh, interesting. They changed the lines. They didn't put 君不见 on its own. They actually combined it in a line of 10 in this version. I think it's actually a pretty big difference though, if you do it like that. Because this, if you split it off, it could be like the Jun, this could mean you or the Lord is not seen. So it could be to see or to be seen, right? So it could be active or passive. But then if you combine them together, it would be like the Lord does not see the blah, 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 instead of the Lord is not seen. So, okay, it's a pretty big difference. Maybe that explains the translation now. I don't know what the heck is going on. But I do think there's some aspect of what I pointed to earlier where he's talking about the horses, but he's even though he's explicitly talking about the horses, he's really talking about something else. But here he's talking about the past and like the lost, I guess, the good old days when the emperor was still there. So I do think there's an element of that, but right, that's why it says at the end, a bird grieving in the wind. You may hear among the pines a bird grieving in the wind that the emperor's horses are gone. So that's dreaming of better days, I think. What is this? What's this great gold tomb? Like, is this for real? Okay, it's where the emperor is buried. I don't know why am I so like annoyed today? I just somehow this poem annoys me as well. I'm just like, what is going on? Okay, some comments from you. Says, does painted horses mean another thing? And mainly the painting reminds of the emperor. I think the experts are wrong. It doesn't seem simple. Yeah, I do think. Well, I don't think the paintings. I don't think the horses are like an explicit symbol of something, but it's like it's sort of reminding him of something. You know. So because at first he's talking about the paintings, right? So it's sort of all the way till here. I feel like this for me is the turn where he says, a sobering sight for whosoever knew them. Where would that be? Gosh. This one. 附近食着酒，叹皆. So those who now see it again, they will sigh for a long time. Right? So I don't think this works with the reading where it's just, oh, these horses are scary. I think it should be like, I think the sighing would be, I think he's sighing because now these horses are, because the horses remind him of something else. And I want to say it's like, it reminds him of the emperor and then all the hardship that was faced during the rebellion. Yeah, I think, and this one, here, who understands distinction? Who really cares for art? I want to say this is about how in the past it was that you could devote yourself to creating great art and appreciating art, but now everything is messed up because of the rebellion and it's no longer a priority. Yeah. So it seems like, so when he encounters this art again, he's like, wow, can you imagine we had such a good, we were able to live in such peace and to engage in such activities. that's sort of my read on this. Let me see. Well, I feel like this translation is a bit unreliable, so it kind of adds to the frustration, especially for such a long poem, right? It's like so hard to find which line it is. Okay. 借问苦心爱着谁? Dude, the translation is so bad. What the heck? It's totally different. So it's like, so I either ask those who loves those who make painstaking efforts, who appreciates those who make painstaking efforts. I think it kind of, I think what I said still stands, but a lot of strange translation. I don't know, just very annoying. Like, if you're gonna translate, please do it better. Okay, I'll try to stop complaining, but yeah. Right, so it is something about just better days, I think. Mm. And then so this whole line, I have no idea what it means, but it's supposed to be a reference to when the emperor fled to the east, right? It fled to the west during the rebellion. And then now, but the emperor is now passed away. And so when you look at his tomb, and you can hear among the pines a bird grieving in the wind that the emperor's horses are gone. So I think the emperor is not just like he's a fanboy of the emperor, but the emperor is really a symbol for a peaceful reign that was cut short. So I think that's why he says the grieving is that the emperor's horses are gone. So it's also grieving that the emperor is gone, and it's also grieving that that time has gone now. So I guess this actually does work for this is actually my very first reading. Yeah, interesting. You have a comment says maybe it's a metaphor for an idea in the emperor's mind. So you're talking about the imperial ghost, is it? I don't know it. As in, I feel like this translation is just so like crazy. Like I'm looking at this, I'm like, none of these words has anything to do with ghosts. So let me see. So this, right? I hope you can see it, but like nothing to do with ghosts here. Like, what's the deal with that? Uh, or is he trying to say something like the imperial ghost is like his spirit or his mind, right? That I think that's what you're trying to say, right? Which would make more sense. Then he should have just said that instead of calling it an imperial ghost. It's like super weird, man. Like, is this Hamlet or something? Yeah. Mm. But okay, I do think it's a good poem. I think my understanding of it is greatly impaired by the translation. But why don't we look at some critics? Maybe they'll give us some more insight. Yes, okay, so I think this is my reading. So he has personally experienced uh the flourishing of the age and then the decline. And so I guess he feels the times and considers its affairs. And that's why he's like very, very sad. Or I think this is sort of I think this is my reading as well. Like if it's just about the horse, it's like okay, that's kind of lame. And the whole point of art is to create some emotion, right? To stir something in you. So I think if he's trying to really describe this horse painting well, he also has to describe what are the feelings that it invokes in him. So that's what I think. Yeah, I do think it's more than just about the horses. Yeah. Okay, maybe let's move on to the last three poems. Another General Cao poem. Okay. Oh, it's by the same translator. Have we all been reading translations by him? But the last one was really so terrible. I don't know. Okay. Let's not prejudge. So I do 杜甫而言, a song of a painting to General Cao. 丹青引赠曹霸将军，将军未武之子孙，如今未赎为亲门。英雄割据虽已矣，文采风流今尚存。学书初学魏夫人，但恨无过王右军。丹青不知老将至，富贵于我如浮云。开元之中常引荐，承恩树上难挡电。凌烟功臣少颜色，将军下笔开生面。梁相头上尽闲冠，猛将腰间大羽箭。薄弓恶弓毛发动，英姿飒爽游。酣战先帝天马日花葱，画工如山貌不同。是日迁来赤池下，故回力迥丽昌鹤生长风。赵魏将军服卷素，义将惨淡经营中。思绪九重真龙出，一洗万古凡马空。日花却在日榻上庭前，异相向。至尊含笑催赐金，与人太仆皆愁长。弟子韩干早入仕，亦能画马穷书相。敢为画肉不画骨，人使华流气凋丧。将军画扇盖有神，偶逢佳事亦写真。即今漂泊干戈疾，履貌寻常行路人。途穷反遭俗眼白，世上未有如公平。但看古来圣明下，终日砍缆缠其身。Wow, okay. O general, descended from Wei's Emperor Wu, you are nobler now than when a noble. Conquerors and their valor perish, but masters of beauty live forever. With your brushwork learned from Lady Wei, and second only to Wang Xizhi's, faithful to your art, you know no age, letting wealth and fame drift by like clouds. In the years of Kai Ren, you were much with the emperor, accompanied him often to the court of the south wind. When the spirit left great statesmen on the walls of the Hall of Fame, the point of your brush preserved their living faces. You crowned all the premiers with coronets of office. You fitted all commanders with arrows at their girdles. You made the founders of this dynasty, with every hair alive, seem to be just back from the fierceness of a battle. The late emperor had a horse known as Jade Flower, whom artists had copied in various poses. They led him one day to the red marble stairs, with his eyes toward the palace in the deepening air. Then, general, commanded to proceed with your work, you centered all your being on a piece of silk, and later, when your dragon horse, born of the sky, had banished earthly horses for 10,000 generations, there was one jade flower standing on the dais, and another by the steps, and they marveled at each other. The emperor rewarded you with smiles and with gifts, while officers and men of the stud hung around and stared. Han Gan, your follower, has likewise grown proficient at representing horses in all their attitudes. But picturing the flesh, he fails to draw the bone, so that even the finest are deprived of their spirit. You, beyond the mere skill, use your art divinely and express not only horses, but the life of a good man. And here you are, wandering in a whirl of disorder and sketching from time to time some petty passerby. People note your case with the whites of their eyes. There's nobody purer, there's nobody poorer. Read in the records from earliest times how hard it is to be a great artist. Oh wow, this works very well with my reading, right? Just now, right? Here is the whole point is that you are so good, but then now in this world of disorder, you are not being appreciated. And yeah. Interesting. Okay. So actually with that, right? That actually makes the first few lines very different because it says conquerors and the valor. So okay, he's descended from Wei's general Wu. So these were like conquerors, right? But he says, now you are nobler now than when a noble, because conquerors and their valor perish, but masters of beauty live forever. So he starts with this, but then you end by saying, there's nobody purer, there's nobody poorer. Actually, let me. Okay, so there's nobody who is as poor as the just. Maybe there's no one as poor as you. Let me see. How do you read that? No, it's not that who is as poor as you. I think it's saying there's no one who is poor like you, which is to say there isn't someone who, it could even mean there's no one who is poor but has the same dignity, right? So, but anyway, the point is that times have changed, and yeah, and yeah, it's this juxtaposition between conquerors and like art, or I guess it's war and peace. In times of war, you have to fight, you have to conquer, but in times of peace, you can direct your energies towards just creating beauty in this world. Yeah. I think maybe let's just go through some of the references. So it says your brushwork learned from Lady Wei. So she's a very famous calligrapher. And then and second only to Wang Xizhi. So Wang Xizhi is one of the probably the most famous calligrapher, yeah, in Chinese history. Yeah, and in the year of Kairen, there's just some time. I think it's the start of the reign, maybe. Okay, so then she was painting all these famous guys. And then so there's a horse called Jade Flower. And then you are painting it so that, okay, there's one flower standing there, and then there's another one, which is his painting. And so they marvel at each other. That's really cool. And then your follower, even though he draws the horses, by picturing the flesh, he fails to draw the bone, so that even the finest are deprived of their spirit. Yeah. And yet you, beyond the mere skill, use your art divinely and express not only horses, but the life of a good man. I think this is also what I was trying to say just now as well, where yet art is not just about, it has to be something more than what is being drawn, right? It has to be more than just the horse. But why don't I think it's good to check in case is a terrible translation. 一写真，偶逢佳是一写真。几经漂泊，干戈急。I don't really know what this means, eh? Oh, this is another reading, which says it should be. Actually, I think that looks much better than whatever this translator did, by saying that only when you will only draw people when you occasionally meet great men, only then will you 写真 paint them basically. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. But yeah, I think that actually makes more sense. Yeah. Okay, and then but then so the contrast here is like he was very picky with who he used to paint, and now he would paint like any passerby. And then what is this? People note it with the white of your eye. I think they sort of like roll their eyes because they don't even know, they can't even appreciate it. Yeah. And the world does not have someone who is poor like you. Yeah. That's these last two lines. But see that since antiquity, the flourishing of the names. Okay, I think this is much better than the translation. So, but you see that from antiquity to now, those who are well known, they all spend their final days with in trouble, with sorrows. Interesting. I think this is much more. It really is a decline. Yeah, wow, that's very depressing sentiment though. That he was just like the fate of a great artist is to suffer. I don't think that's really right, but I think it's more of a sign of the times than the intrinsic nature of being a artist. What what is what? But here you see that even though he's not really talking about, or he looks like he's supposed to be talking about the painting, but it's really talking about the person's fate, the painter. I think that's I think that's way more interesting than if he just talked about the painting. So he's talking about, I think it is a very similar theme to before, where it's, yeah, just very troubled times. How difficult it is to live in troubled times. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, let's just go through some famous critics. So, All right, here it says, when the poem begins, it talks about the general's past and his his pinnacle, and then at the ending talks about his present, and it's very sad, very tragic. Yeah. Oh, a lot of comments on this actually. Mm. Interesting. It's kind of like he's describing the person and describing the horse. I think it's like when he says, um, and there's when it says his follower can draw the flesh, but he fails to draw the bone. So in saying that, so he's saying that, uh, in talking about the painting, he's talking about the person, right? So when saying how General Tao is able to, implying that he can draw the bone, and it's talking about how, I don't know, he can. I mean, it's saying something about him. So I think that's interesting. Yeah, like talking about from the work of art, you're saying, by saying something about the work of art, you're saying something about the artist. Yeah. Mm. But yeah, but another point is like it starts right away by talking about the person, and only then it moves to the art, and it moves back to the person. So that's an interesting arc there. Mm. Personally, I find this much more interesting if it's about the person. So I would rather read it as like it's a poem about the person, and then the middle part with on the art is about the artist. Is another way of talking about the artist. Yeah. But I guess you can read it another way. It's like it's about the art, but then the artist, talking about the artist, informs the art. And so this painting of the jade flower, the horse, gains deeper meaning by knowing what happened to the artist in the end. Maybe. Hmm. Okay. Right. We have one, two more. Oh, I'm pretty tired. All right. I hope this is good. Should be pretty interesting. Yeah. Uh, So Du Fu asks, is a letter to censor Han, is 寄函建议，令我不乐思岳阳，生日奋飞病在床，美人涓涓隔秋水。What's this? 濯足洞庭望八荒，鸿飞明明日月白。清风夜翅天雨霜，玉京群帝极北斗。或骑麒麟翼凤凰，芙蓉旌旗烟雾落，引动道景遥潇湘。兴公之君醉琼浆，与人稀少不在旁。次闻左者赤松子，恐是汉代韩张良。昔随刘氏定长安，为我未改神惨伤，国家崇拜勿岂敢？色南心腹参风香，周南留至无所惜。 南极老人应寿昌，美人胡为隔秋水，焉得置之共日堂。I am sad. My thoughts are in 右州. 右州? Is it? Really? I will hurry there, but I am sick in bed. Beauty would be facing me across the autumn waters. Oh, to wash my feet in Lake Dongting and see at its 8 corners, wild geese flying high, sun and moon both white, green maples changing to red in the frosty sky, angels bound for the capital of heaven near the North Star, riding some of them phoenixes and others unicorns, with banners of hibiscus and with melodies of mist, their shadows dancing upside down in the southern rivers, till the queen of the stars, drowsy with her nectar, would forget the winged man on either side of her. From the wizard of the red pine, this word has come for me, that after his earlier follower, he has now a new disciple, who, formerly at the capital as Emperor Liu's advisor, in spite of great successes, never could be happy. What are a country's rise and fall? Can flesh pots be as fragrant as mountain fruit? I grieve that he is lost far away in the south. May the star of long life accord him its blessing. O purity, to seize you from beyond the autumn waters, and to place you as an offering in the court of imperial jade. Huh? What the heck is going on? What? Okay, wow, there's very little info about this. Let's see. Okay. So Yueyang. Okay, Yueyang is where Han is living, right? So he's thinking of Yueyang, okay, because he's sad and he's thinking of it. He wants to go, but he's sick in bed. Okay. What's this beauty would be facing him? Oh, he's talking about his friend Hanzhu. Okay, so this Yang is where Hanzhu is. The censor Han is. So he's like, oh, I wish I was there with you, my friend. I want to go there, but I'm sick. And then he compares the friend to like a beauty. So the beauty is actually his friend, because apparently in poetic tradition you often refer to a virtuous person. A metaphor for virtuous people are like a beautiful person or like a herb. Okay. Okay, so basically you, my friend, will be there across the autumn waters. And he's like, okay, this makes more sense then. Then he's like, yeah. Oh, to wash my feet in Lake Dongting as he has 8 corners. White geese flying high, sun and moon both white, green maples changing to red in the frosty sky. So it's just like, oh, I wish I was. He's describing the scenery there. I bet this is not an angel. um, 日经群地极为多. So this is a uh, 日经 is some sort of heavenly mountain, I guess, and the various. I'm just gonna guess is the various immortals they gather there, because there's no way there aren't any angels in China. I mean, in Chinese mythology. And yeah, and some of them riding phoenixes or yeah, people call this the Chinese unicorn, but it's a qilin. So it's completely. I'll show a photo. This is another mythical beast, but apparently the the celestials, the immortals ride it. So yeah, sort of has this has two horns, so it's not really a unicorn, is it? But it's kind of like a dragon, but also has like four legs and like a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's an acceptable translation, I guess. And all right, so with banners of hibiscus and melodies of mist, their shadows dancing upside down in the southern rivers, to the queen of the stars. Draws you with a nectar. It's just the lord of the ruler of the starry palace. It's just some immortal. I don't know why he always translates it as like queen. Like, dude, there can be male immortals, right? Huh. Okay. And we'll forget the winged. Yeah, the winged people on either side of them. Right. Then the wizard of the red pine. I was like, are you kidding me? What kind of, that's so strange. Like, why would you call it that? All right, 赤松子. All right, so this is the wizard of red pine. Okay, it's just some immortal, this legendary character who's an immortal. Okay. Is this guy working off a different poem? Some of his translations are so weird. So from the Wizard of Red Pine, yeah, okay. Word has come for me. And then I'm afraid this might be Han Zhangliang, who from the Han Dynasty. That's literally what it says. Okay, and then gosh, this translation is really annoying me. Like, is this even the same? Like, is he working off a different edition or something? Like, his translation choices are like bizarre at times. Okay, so okay, so when the first emperor of the Han Dynasty settled in Chang'an, then what's this? The tents curtains have not changed, but the spirit is wounded, is miserable. Okay, maybe I'll take this. In spite of great successes, could be happy. Sure. Right. Okay, formerly as the Emperor Liu's advisor, in spite of great successes, never could be happy. And then, so what are countries rise and fall? Can flesh pots be as fragrant as mountain fruit? What? Okay, anyway, this is the Wizard of Red Pine. Okay. Cool. All right. What? How can? What? Let me check another book. I have. This is a crazy translation. Huh. Dang. Okay, it looks like it's not actually in my edition. Huh. Well, that sucks. I have no idea how to read that. I mean, it really feels like nonsense to me. What was this like flesh pot thing? Screw it, I'm gonna Google. What does this mean? I'm sure. Okay, let's find another source. Okay. Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, this line is nonsense. I think it's saying that mm, he dislikes, he cannot bear like corruption, and that's why, and he's willing to eat to just like the fragrance of maple. So it's like he's willing to, I guess, go hungry i- if it means just so that like he'd rather be have his integrity than and starve. I think that's what it's saying. Yeah, or at least that's what this interpretation is saying. Such a cryptic line. Huh. How does it fit with the rest though? Okay, let's finish this and then figure out what this actually has to do with censor Han. How this all fits together. Okay. Chonan. Useless. Like why? I was looking at the article. I'm like, oh, this is useless. Like, does not explain what's going on. Did they even have a translation? Mandarin. Ah, okay. Okay, okay. This they have this. Oh, ah. So then, the grand. This is a historical reference that was completely missed in the translation, which is that this grand historian called Sima Qian, and he had this sort of preface for his work. I mean, Sima Qian is like he was kind of wrong though, basically. Like he sort of got like castrated as a punishment just for speaking out against this like something he thought was wrong. And then so he was like, but then he had a choice between like being castrated or to like just to like take his own life. So usually people would they say the more honorable path is just to like take your own life. But then he decided to like get castrated because he wanted to finish his work of his this giant work of history that started from his father. Or yeah, so there's an allusion here. Okay. Okay, and then there's this weird thing about the old man living in the South Pole, like some Santa Claus vibes, but I think some mythological character. What? Okay. But I always like, oh, I think he was banished to I think Sima Qian was banished to the south as well, something like that. But then he's like, oh, but I wish that he can live like the old man in the south, some sort of mythological character. 美人胡为隔秋水。哇, this is so painful when things are not explained clearly in the notes or translations. So it shouldn't be as an offering. It should be like, oh, you virtuous person, why are you you know, standing separated by the autumn water? How can I put you in the court of imperial jade, which is just the palace, but not as an offering, but like so that you can serve the state? Bruh, oh, this translation really makes me angry. Yeah, like, I think it just makes things more confusing. Honestly, oh, super frustrating. Okay, now what is the poem actually saying? Okay, so he's thinking of his friend. Who is it? Yue Yang. Okay, and then he's like, well, the place is very nice, and then there are like immortals there. And then something about his friend being very virtuous. What? I'm so confused. Oh, okay. So this saying that actually the reference to this, the heavenly court and the immortals, is actually an allusion to the political situation where, uh, because, I guess of bad politics are people who seize control of the court. It causes all the virtuous subjects to leave. And that makes sense why it has the allusion to the historian. Okay, it's not in the translation. And then at the end where he says that, oh, it would be great if you could return to the court. Okay. So this translation has completely missed the point of the whole poem. Oh, wow, okay. Annoyed. Okay. So the queen, not the queen of the story, the immortals, the drowsy with nectar, is supposed to be the people in court who are sort of, or maybe even the emperor who is sort of deluded. And then forget the winged men on either side. These are the virtuous people, the virtuous officials, and then who then all leave, right? Okay, okay, that makes sense. Wow, that was so painful. Jeez. Okay, let's just read this last one. There weren't any famous critics for the previous poem anyway, so let's read this last one by Du Fu again. And I think it was a good poem. It's just really, really bad translation. I just, ouch. Yeah. Yeah, you have a comment. Yeah, another bad translation then. Yeah, it's really bad, right? I'm so annoyed, like, completely misses the point, like, of the previous thing. So, okay, I hope this one will be okay. So, 杜甫, a song of an old cypress. 古柏, yeah, 古柏行，孔明庙前有老柏，柯如青铜，根如石，双屏流雨，四时为。黛色参天2000尺，君臣以与时际会，树木犹为人爱惜。云来气接巫峡长，月出寒通雪山白。亦作路绕景亭东，先生武侯同闷关，翠围枝干，交远古。窈窕丹青，物有空。落落盘踞虽得地，冥冥孤高多烈风。扶持自是神明力，正直元婴造化功。大厦如青药梁栋，万牛回首秋山重。不录文章是已经，为此简罚谁能诵？苦心岂免容，蝼蚁香叶中经宿鸾凤。志士幽人莫怨嗟，古来财大难为用。Beside the temple of the great premier, really? Okay, control yourself. Okay. Beside the temple of the great premier stands an ancient cypress with a trunk of green bronze and a root of stone. The girth of its white bark would be at the reach of 40 men, and its tip of kingfish blue is 2,000 feet in heaven. Dating from the days of a great ruler's great statesman, their very tree is loved now and honored by the people. Clouds come to it from far away, from the Wu cliffs, and the cold moon glistens on its peak of snow. East of the Silk Pavilion yesterday I found the ancient ruler and wise statesman, both worshipped in one temple, whose tree, with curious branches, ages the whole landscape, in spite of the fresh colors of the windows and the doors. And so firm is the deep root, so established underground, that its lone lofty boughs can dare the weight of winds. Its only protection, the heavenly power, its only endurance, the art of its creator. Though oxen sway 10,000 hits, they cannot move a mountain. When beams are required to restore a great house, though a tree writes no memorial, yet people understand that not unless they fell it can use be made of it. Its bitter heart may be tenanted now by black and white ants, but its odorous leaves were once the nests of phoenixes and pheasants. Let wise and hopeful men harbor no complaint. The greater the timber, the tougher it is to use. I like the last two lines. The greater the timber, the tougher it is to use. I'm not sure there's a temple of the great premier. That sounds a bit sus. Okay, what is this? So this is a very specific place. Whoa, okay. Is there really a ruler and a okay, so it's this place, it's the only temple where a ruler and a official are worshipped. Okay, so there's Zhuge Liang and there Liu Bei, Guan Yu. Oh, okay. Dang, that's cool. So there's the famous ruler, Liu Bei, right? And then from the Three Kingdoms period. So he's like the main character of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the novel. And then all his sort of his friends and his subjects are all worshipped in there. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. So this is that specific temple. And then in front of it, there's this old ancient cypress. Okay. With a green trunk of green bronze and root of stone. Growth of its white bark would be reach of 40 men. Tip of kingfish blue, 2,000 feet in heaven. There's no way there's 2,000 feet in heaven. I don't think heaven has different units of measurement, right? What? Yeah, it's 2,000 feet pointing towards heaven, probably. And then okay, so even though the time when the ruler and the minister, so Kong Ming is Zhuge Liang, is the strategist of Liu Bei, right? So when the ruler Liu Bei and Zhuge Liang, the time when they met was past, but the tree lasts all the way till now and is still loved by the people. Did they meet at the tree? I don't think so, right? Because they met at the when he was fishing, I think. So okay. Then next, clouds come to it far from the Wu River, Wu Cliffs. Okay, cold moon glistens on its peak of snow. Yesterday on the east of the Silk Pavilion, I found. Okay, the ancient ruler and wise statesman both worship in one temple, whose tree with curious branches ages the whole landscape in spite of the fresh colors of the windows and the doors. And so firm is the deep root so established underground that its lone lofty bough can dare the weight of winds. Its only protection, the heavenly power, its only endurance, the art of its creator. I don't think there's a creator here, man. Okay. Really? Okay, this translation also says there's a creator, but okay, fine. There's a creator. It could be just of the power of creation, because you can be created. You can be self-created, right? That's what some Taoists would say. You're self-created, and so there's no creator. Yeah, you are your own creator, I guess. But okay. So then the oxen sway 10,000 hits. They cannot move a mountain when beams are required to restore a great house. Though a tree writes no memorial, yet people understand that not unless they fell it can use be made of it. Its bitter heart may be talented now by black and white ants, but its odorous leaves were once the nest of phoenixes and what? It's not a pheasant. I mean, this is another mythical bird, right? You don't. A pheasant is like a very plain bird, I think. So, but its fragrant leaves were once the nest of phoenixes and another mythical bird. That wise and hopeful men harbor no complaint. The greater the timber, the harder it is to use. It's so hard to read this properly if I don't trust the translation. Okay, let me read another take on this, okay? But it's clearly about the tree, how long it lasts, and it's about the historical allusion to Liu Bei and Zhuge Kongming, or Zhuge Liang, the ruler and the strategist minister. Because this is the tree outside their temple, right? So, so this is meant the tree is a symbol of Zhuge Liang's character. So by praising the tree, he's also praising his character. That makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, so see, so it's lone lofty boughs can bear the weight of the wind, it's so firm as a deep root, so established underground, and so on. I'm not sure, are there ants in it? Is that what actually it says, or are there no ants in it? Okay, it does say there are ants, but I see. Okay, now the last two lines make sense, right? It's like, you admire this great person, and maybe you are in fact very much like him, but then you are not being now your state is like having ants in your heart, because basically you're not being appreciated. There's no wise ruler for you to serve, right? But it's okay because you remember that the greater the timber, the tougher it is to use, right? So that might actually be a Zhuangzi reference as well. So Zhuangzi, there's a story where it's like, oh, there's this Greek tree so big it's useless, and then Zhuangzi says, well, no, you just don't know how to use it well. So that's the kind of vibe here, where I think when he's talking about the tree as a way to talk about Zhuge Liang, as a way to talk about himself and how maybe he feels unappreciated. So yeah, wow, that's a good poem. I will refrain from critiquing the translation even more. But yeah, I really like this poem. Okay. Let's just finish this part. So the famous critics, right? Okay, so this comes from kind of sympathetic resonance. So he visits the temple, and then he sees the tree, and then he thinks of all this stuff and sort of reflecting it in the poem itself. So that's or he's sort of analyzing how this poem came to be. Yeah. And hmm. Okay, actually there's not much to say. There's just yeah, this idea of yeah, just when he ends with it says the great timber, greater the timber, or the 财大, like the material is large, and it's really just linking back into this old tree. Yeah, so it's kind of goes full circle, which is great. And yeah, this is a really good poem. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could have explained it better, but it's really good. I think I'm just gonna call it a day. Super worn out from figuring these last few poems out. And yeah, but I hope this was helpful. And I mean, yeah, because if you just read the translation, you'll be totally lost. It would be like nonsense. But I hope at least it helped explain, help clear up some confusion you might have. Okay. So yeah, thanks for coming, and I'll see you next week. All right.